You know, I find it amazing how we here in America have developed this mindset that life consists of the possessions we have. If you have a small house with a picket fence, which used to be the dream of everyone, you want a mansion with 10 bedrooms and a separate bathroom for every bedroom that you have. People just seem to struggle to amass more and more stuff. It's an unending desire, and it's always just one more thing. In 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6, Paul says, "Godliness with contentment, that's really being rich." Many folks amass so many things, but they still can't rest. They want more. More stuff. In Luke chapter 12, Jesus was addressing the crowd concerning covetousness when some guy came up and asked him to make his brother share his stuff with him. Now, Jesus came back with a classic answer by posing a question back at the guy. He basically said, "Hey dude, who made me a judge or an arbitrator over you?" Then he spoke to everyone, telling them, "Take heed and beware of covetousness. For one's life does not consist in the abundance of the things that he possesses." Jesus spoke to the crowd when he addressed covetousness. He then turned and he spoke directly to the disciples. He tells them a parable to illustrate this truth. And he spoke a parable unto them, saying, "The ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. And he thought within himself, saying, What shall I do? Because I have no room to store my fruits. And he said, This will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I store all the fruits of my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry." Here is a rich guy with full barns and a bumper crop. He is perplexed as to what he should do because he has so many things. He's got so much stuff. A man's life doesn't consist in the abundance of the things that he has. And this guy got to the point that he had so much that he didn't have room to store anymore. So he pondered whether he should tear down his barns and build bigger barns. Then he could fill the new barns with more stuff. This guy has plenty, but he's still not satisfied. He figures he can do this one more thing, tear down the old barns and build bigger ones to store more stuff, and then he will have made it. You know, human nature is a really funny thing. We are never fully satisfied. We always want just one more thing, or to take one more step, to go one step further. And after each new thing, or each new step, we find that we're still empty. And so we look to go one more step and buy one more thing. Just never arrive where we really think we need to be. And happiness is always just out of reach, just down the road. Just one more step, just one more thing. But God said unto him, "Thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided?" Now, who is going to inherit all the things that you have amassed? Solomon amassed all of his wealth, had more cattle than anybody who had ever lived before, more silver, and it was as common as rocks in Jerusalem. He had everything, but he began to worry about it. He thought about leaving it to his son, and this guy was not the sharpest knife in the drawer, speaking of the son, not of Solomon. And he worried about how his son had no sense and didn't understand the value of things. He worried that this spendthrift son was going to waste all that he had used such great wisdom and hard work to gather over his lifetime. Now, there was a woman, her name was Hattie Green, and she amassed a fortune and died the richest woman in the world at that time. She boarded her house up except for one room, and this was in an effort to save on fuel. She finally closed up her house entirely and moved to a flop house for $12 a week, room and board. When she bought a newspaper, she'd read it, then fold it up and give it to her son. He would take it down to Central Park and resell it to get her 5 cents back. When her son was out selling the paper one day, he slipped on some ice and cut himself. She took him to a free clinic in New York, where the doctor recognized her and wanted to charge her for her visit. She got so angry that she took her son away. Blood poisoning set in, and they finally had to amputate his leg. She died, and her sister had committed suicide prior to that. So the son inherited her fortune. Within 2 years, it was all gone. In the parable, God told this rich man, "Tonight you are going to die. Who then will possess all that you have gathered? So is he that lays up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God." Doesn't matter how many cars, houses, clothes, shoes, money, or other possessions a person gathers during their lifetime, because that person is not rich toward God. After Jesus finished the parable, he turned to his disciples. And he said unto his disciples, "Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, neither for the body, what ye shall put on. The life is more than meat, the body is more than raiment. Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, they neither have storehouse nor barn, yet God feeds them. How much more are you better than the fowls?" We need to look around at God's creation, and we need to learn from it. God takes care of his creation. No other creature on earth goes through all the pain and labor of laying up goods than do the birds. God feeds them. Aren't you worth more to your Father than are the birds? If you have gathered up possessions to the point that your closets are overflowing, instead of adding to that clutter, think about downsizing. Help someone who doesn't have all they need. Begin to store up treasures in heaven, and make someone smile by providing something they need, not something they just want. Think about it. These are just my thoughts. Don D. Stevens. God bless you.